You're listening to On the Job with PORAC, hosted by PORAC President Brian Marvel and Vice President Ben Therriault. On the Job with PORAC is your go-to podcast for insights into the challenges and opportunities facing law enforcement professionals here in California and across the nation. Our goal is to provide an inside look at these issues from the perspective of officers who risk their lives to protect and serve their communities.
Welcome to On the Job with PORAC, your inside track to the world of law enforcement. I'm Brian Marvel, President of PORAC, joined by my co-host Ben Therriault, Vice President of PORAC. As we honor Peace Officers Memorial Month and National Police Week, we're shining a light on the Peace Officers Relief and Education Foundation, better known as POREF, a lifeline for law enforcement families since 1980 in California. Joining us are Ryan Goodfellow from Oakland POA and Mike Pruger from Santa Cruz County DSA. Both are PORAC Executive Committee members and POREF board members. Welcome, Mike and Ryan.
Thanks for having us.
So obviously, this podcast will come out in May. We'll be memorializing and holding remembrance ceremonies locally at our state, and then obviously culminating nationally in Washington, D.C. But I think one of the things that we try to highlight here at PORAC is our POREF Foundation. It's been around for a very long time. We've tried to create new programs to generate additional funds because everything we put into the foundation directly goes back to survivors, their families, our members' families. And I think it's critically important that all associations, including PORAC, have these types of foundations to support their members, especially when it comes to line of duty deaths. And I know one of the most recent things that we've tried to incorporate at the POREF is our golf tournament, the POREF Open. And I know in the past we've always tied it to symposium, but we're trying to do something a little bit different now and regionalizing it. And Region 1 had the honor of holding the first Region 1 POREF Open. It was still open all to the state. But with that, I know Mike and Ryan, you both took the leads on that, and extremely successful event. So I really want to, first off, thank you for stepping up and taking on that task. I think a lot of people, they go to golf tournaments and they get to enjoy it, but there's a lot of work that's done. There's a lot of planning that has to be done. A lot of contracts have to be signed. And it's also a testament to the staff here at PORAC for the amount of support that they gave you through this process to make such a successful event. So first off, this question will be more for Mike. Can you share a little bit about your experiences and what made this year's POREF Open so exciting and successful? Because it sounds like we had another sold out event.
Yeah. It was, again, it was the first time the regions had been asked to put this together. Myself, Ryan, and your staff, Kim and Kalesva, came together trying to figure out where we were going to have it. We discussed, we wanted it centrally located. We wanted to be able to, people who chose to fly into the location. We wanted to have that available. So we landed on the Central Coast. It's my chapter in Region 1, and we had it out at Bayonet Golf Course, which has a lot of history behind it. It sits on the old Fort Ord military base. It was absolutely beautiful. It was in great condition. It was a little cold, but when we were discussing it, it was we knew that April would be a little iffy. But we beat the rain, and I think everybody had a really good time. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everyone had a great time. Some of the things that we were able to do there, they did a long drive competition. They did some putting competitions before the game. We had on hole number 1, if you donated money to POREF, you got to spin a wheel, and we had some teams get hole-in-ones. They were, they didn't have to hit. They didn't even have to hit the ball, and they got hole-in-ones. We had one team that actually got 2 of them. Two different guys got hole-in-ones, which I think helped the people who won the whole event. But overall, I think everyone had a really good time. there was a lot of participation there. So.
And I think that's really what this is about, is just trying to raise as much funds as you can for the foundation. Because the more funds that we have, the more we can support, fallen officers' families or officers through critical times. And events like this really are able to, one, bring us together to have a good time, and two, to raise those funds that the foundation like this really needs. And by all accounts, it sounds like people were really going after Mike. Didn't you win last year, Mike, on the
Well,
POREF?
just so happens that Team Santa Cruz has won the last 2 years.
Oh, nice.
Teams were built to kick our ass this time. And so they did.
So I guess throw this to Ryan. When you have events like this, and I know I have to assume Oakland's probably does similar type stuff. How do you see this as a foundation for one, building the camaraderie, but also, building the foundation's financial support to be able to assist officers? Do you have the same success in Oakland area? And how can we increase that here at PORAC on a statewide level?
Yeah, I think, with this tournament, we had a lot of support. And my understanding, the CHP Credit Union has come every year for the last 4 years and been a big supporter. And then we have a lot of law firms that have also supported. This year's tournament was a little bit different, I think, because this was our first time as a region doing it, and it wasn't attached to Symposium. But I think we still had a lot of these, a lot of our sponsors and supporters that were able to still reach out and help out with supporting the golf tournament. And a lot of the chapters chipped in. We had some of the associations chip in and buy tees. I think we can always look for more people, though, that are out there in the community that can help support, obviously funding and bringing funds to the POREF. It doesn't need to just be our close law enforcement partners. We could also reach out to others in the community. And also, I know there's supporters of law enforcement out there that would love, once they figure out what POREF is, to support to those. And I would encourage folks to hopefully find some of those as we move these tournaments around to different parts of the state, to try to look for options to bring others in to help support the POREF also. But we have had success here in Oakland doing golf tournaments and raising funds. We do have our own relief fund. It's called Widows and Orphans. But we have done crowd feeds. We've done other things that help bring money into those. And they're successful. And the good thing about that is all the money goes back to these families eventually in different ways.
And people should know that when we host these tournaments, that all these funds that are, except for our overheads, go straight into the POREF Foundation. And by showing up for these golf tournaments and by sponsoring these golf tournaments and assisting us, this money is going directly back to the people that need it.
Just to add to that, I try to let folks know that, we've done our due diligence in a sense with POREF and getting, the platinum seal of transparency and accountability of the fund. Because when we put our brand on it, PORAC and POREF, we want to make sure that when people are donating to our organization and the foundation, that they know we're going to try to maximize to 100% possible to give back to the families, to the officers in need. We're not, sometimes you see a lot of fundraisers for law enforcement, and unfortunately, their overhead and their fundraising eat up about 60 to 70% of all the funds that are brought in. And we don't do that here at POREF. We actually try to have PORAC subsidize POREF when we do line of duty deaths, fund to hero type programs, to make sure that we are maximizing every single dollar that we receive goes to that family and support during their time of need. And I try to stress that as much as possible because, a lot of times people want to support law enforcement. They may not know somebody personally in law enforcement, but they support us. They support the fallen families. And the best way that they can do that is making a donation to a fund. And with that, I want to make sure that when they donate, that they're donating to a trustworthy organization. Because I see it even with my parents. They get a ton of mailers from these law enforcement groups, supposed law enforcement groups from around the USA, and they have terrible ratings when it comes to accountability and transparency. So I always tell people, if you receive something in the mail, to never contribute to it. That's just my personal feelings on it, just because I don't trust the organizations that are sending out these mailers, especially the ones that say they're helping, a local agency. And the local agency you reach out to them has never even heard of the organization.
You know,
So
along those lines, Brian, recently we lost two officers from very small organizations, King City Police Department and Marysville Police Department. Um, and we were able to reach out and get those families the $10,000 checks
yeah,
almost immediately.
yeah,
In King City's case, I know helps tremendously because she was worried about, his widow was worried about how she was going to pay the mortgage and car payments and without income coming in. So uh, it, it helps more than people even know.
yeah. And I think this dovetails nicely into our Fund to Hero program, the platform that we created many years ago to help line of duty death officers, or officers that are in need because they've contracted cancer from being on the job. They've been in serious car accidents, other types of tragic events. The Fund to Hero program goes back to the branding and recognition, and knowing that the money raised is going to go to that family. We're going to maximize every dollar. And I know, Mike, I think the most successful Fund to Hero program we had was with Sergeant Damon Gutzwiller out of Santa Cruz. Um, can you talk a little bit about how I try to tell people when they open those up to be like, here's what Santa Cruz did. And maybe you can talk a little bit about what you did in Santa Cruz to really push out that Fund to Hero, because yeah, I mean, we almost made $1 million
Yeah.
on that Fund to Hero campaign, which is a phenomenal amount. But it was such a joint effort by everybody in your community to push that out, to talk about it, and provide the support for that family. And it was just phenomenal. I mean, we could probably do a case study on how successful you were with that.
We tried to hit as much media as we possibly could. We put our sheriff on media platforms that typically we wouldn't do in Santa Cruz. We had him on Fox News, for 90 seconds. And in those 90 seconds, we raised almost $100,000 that we can account from just being on that in that news medium. Um, it's getting the message out. It's doing as much as you possibly can. It was a perfect storm. There was a lot of things going on. There was a lot of anti-law enforcement sentiment at the time, and people, I think, really wanted to show their support. And Damon being murdered um, allowed us to tap into uh, that noteworthy type of atmosphere. So, I mean, again, a lot of these organizations that do it, they fall short on the getting the message out in the Facebooks and the having your families put it out and everybody in your organization putting it out. Um, but also they have to know that it's available to them. In the case that I was just talking about in Marysville, they had people trying to do the GoFundMe type of um, uh, fundraising for the officer, and it wasn't until we made contact with them that they realized that they could have this as well. I mean, I'm not going to say that people's hearts were in the wrong place, but this is an organization that every single dollar that comes in goes directly to those families. And I'm not sure that many other organizations can claim that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I think the Fund to Hero platform is probably one of the best things that we've done in the recent history with POREF, because It's something that we can put out statewide. It was created by peace officers to support peace officers, and we're not going to kowtow to the politics. I think we saw over the last several years some of the larger fundraising platforms, they deplatformed fundraisers for fallen officers because of the political ramifications around that. And you're just not going to get that here with us. And I think that really goes to the point of being a member of PORAC and why it's so important. We are the largest statewide organization in the state and in the nation. And, to try to get folks to join and be members of PORAC, we have a lot of benefits that we offer them. And I think this is a huge benefit for families when they're definitely going through an extremely difficult time with the loss of a peace officer or other issues that they may be facing due to their work. So one of the other things that we do also is the scholarships. I don't know, Ryan, if you want to talk a little bit about the scholarships that we offer. And I know Mike actually sits on the scholarship subcommittee, so he may want to talk a little bit more about it too.
Yeah, I'll just brush over the just a little bit of what the scholarship program is to start, and I'll let Mike jump in because he's been doing this for years with the scholarships. So, but we do, POREF does do scholarships every year. They hand out a number of scholarships to family members of PORAC members, and they can be kids, grandkids, and there's probably others that are in there Mike can probably speak to, but it opens up beginning of every year, and then right around March it closes, and then Mike and his crew get to sit down and read all the essays that are written for it, and then those scholarships are then handed out for members, families, and or loved ones that are going to school to help them get a higher education. So
typically we get between 160 and 200 applications. We give away anywhere from 25 to 40 scholarships at about $2,500 a pop. And those are pretty good odds. This year we had as many RAM members that I can remember, their kids and grandkids putting in for the scholarship. I mean, it's starting to get out there that we are doing this every single year. We try to make the question relevant to what is going on in the world with law enforcement. This year is the first year we allowed kids to type the essays. But don't cheat because we're looking. So no using AI. Any case,
hot topic in
hot
today's
topic.
world.
Yes,
Law enforcement or in scholarship.
We're
Do you guys have
finding,
some? Do you have some specific examples, Mike, on where the recipients, basically, where the scholarships really had, an impact that something that sticks out,
well,
specifically?
we give scholarship applicants for fallen officers' families. And those are always the most impactful essays to read because these are individuals who have lost their mom or their dad due to tragic circumstances. And so we always make sure that we award scholarships to those families. Specifically, we've read so many really great essays, and these kids are coming in with incredible GPAs. I mean, it's getting tougher and tougher to select these participants and award them scholarships. It's pretty it is very, 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 what is the word I'm looking for?
Competitive.
Tough. Competitive, very right. Competitive at this point. And you got to bring your A game.
I think that's good, though. It says a lot about the profession and folks who are applying. So.
Yeah.
And I know one of the other things that the POREF Foundation sponsors, the State Peace Officers Memorial Luncheon after the enrollment ceremony. PORAC has been the primary sponsor for that for as long as I can remember. So I know if you're attending the statewide memorial and after the enrollment ceremony, there's lunch. PORAC sponsors that entire event. Yeah. So it's, trying to give back and make sure that we're, like I said earlier, supporting, the families and the officers and our members with the foundation, and making sure that we're being as transparent and accountable for all of those funds in the best possible manner. So obviously, we have the events, we have the GoFundMe's, the associations. They contribute via our membership, being an affiliate of PORAC. If you would like to support POREF, we'll have a donation page set up. I think it's important to try to get that out there as much. I know in the beginning of May is give back May or donations. So we'll be sending out an email to the membership and all our email folks to see if they're willing to contribute to the POREF Foundation, because hopefully we can start spreading the word in larger circles than just the law enforcement community. I think Ryan touched on it about what he's doing in Oakland is really just trying to branch out beyond the circles that we operate in on a regular basis. We're going to naturally have supporters within our families and our memberships and our associations, but I think there's a lot of businesses that support us. They just don't know about it and how to support charitable organizations within law enforcement. And hopefully that's something that we can focus on in the coming years. And hopefully the golf tournament is really getting the word out, because I know a lot of people like to golf. It's a great opportunity to come and intermingle with some law enforcement folks that are actually on the job doing the job, and trying to get that message out. So I just it's really important to try to focus on doing that. And I know next year's golf tournament will be somewhere within Region 2. Hopefully
We're already starting to talk about it.
All right, good deal. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where that. I have a feeling it's going to be up here in the Sacramento area, but we'll have some more information on that. And again, if you go to our website at PORAC.org, sign up for our email alerts. We'll push all of that information out.
I just real quick on just getting notifications. I think Instagram and Facebook, it always gets pushed out, especially the Fund to Hero stuff. So if people are looking for a way to find out what's going on, I think that's the best thing to do is follow on Facebook and Instagram and see it down there.
And we have 3 Fund to Heroes currently going where line of duty death. And so if people want to reach out right now and figure that out, that'd be great.
I appreciate that, Mike. And that wraps up another impactful episode of On the Job with PORAC. A huge thank you to Ryan Goodfellow and Mike Pruger for sharing the incredible work of POREF. From the sold-out 2025 POREF Open Golf Tournament to scholarships and relief efforts supporting our law enforcement families. The Peace Officers Memorial Month, let's honor our heroes by supporting POREF's mission. Visit www.porac.org. Sign up for our email alerts for future opportunities to support POREF or to donate, apply for a scholarship, or learn about upcoming events. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast to spread the word. This is Brian Marvel and Ben Therriault reminding you to stay informed, stay safe, and keep up the great work. Till next time, with On the Job with PORAC.